Welcome to Savvy Business, Life Unscripted, with your host, Christina Rivera, where our guests share their wisdom and valuable business tips, empowering our audience to expand their personal potential.
Hear me, Heather?
I can.
All right. Welcome to Unleashing Your Story podcast. This is the newest addition to our Savvy. We had you on last year, or it might have been 2 years ago, where you were out and about in your Airstream, kicking things with your biz and everything. But you have a very an inspirational story. This new podcast is really more inspirational in nature. Of course, we're going to talk about your business because that's where a lot of your inspiration has come from. But I wanted to have you just share with the audience a little bit about your background. You're a top millennial publicist and Forbes 30 under 30 nominee and the CEO of Publicity for Good. But share a little bit about what brought you to where you are today.
Yeah, so I was a Girl Scout until I was 18, and I sold the most amount of Girl Scout cookies. And I always dreamed of, being a TV anchor. Where I grew up in Ohio, there was a TV personality, and she covered every nonprofit and local event. And I just wanted to be her. My goal was to really highlight companies and people that were making a difference. And then from there, I went to college. I was a communication major. Did an intensive at Georgetown, really studying conscious capitalism and how businesses can give back, and then worked at an ad agency. And then from there, started this amazing company, Publicity for Good.
Yeah, and no, your Publicity for Good it's just what it says, Publicity for Good. There is a part of it that isn't just publicizing people, but doing good for the society, the country, and the world. Share more about that.
Yeah, it's a couple things. It's really ensuring that we have a diverse group of individuals that all believe in our mission. We all support and work with small businesses. So we're really in the trenches supporting families, and that's really exciting. On a personal level, we're really passionate about giving back with our time, our treasures, and all of those things. And it's really also like asking ourselves, the brands we buy from, how are they treating their employees? What type of ingredients do they use? Just really being intentional with where we put our dollars.
I love that you say that, because I think people don't put that into effect. A lot of times people say, I don't like the fact that the environment has issues, and then they look for outside sources to make it better, when often we can really make a lot of change just with our pocketbook and deciding who we work with, both as vendors and people we buy from.
Absolutely. And it's exciting. It's an exciting time. Everyone can start a business these days with the accessibility of working from home and Wi-Fi and internet. So it's exciting.
Tell me, how has things changed since COVID? I'm sure you had to pivot and re-strategize in your business. How did that look like both in your business and in your personal life?
So we've always been virtual. We've been virtual for 5 years. So that didn't really have a difference, but we had to look for more digital strategies to connect with new clients. A lot of what we would do would be going to trade shows and meeting people. So we had to look for alternative ways to connect with people, to reach out, to call them, to actually connect, since there weren't all these conferences and everything. And then on a personal level, we traveled the country in our Airstream, and it'll be 2 years in May living in the Airstream. The end of May, and now we are in North Carolina in the mountains. We chose North Carolina, and now we're in the stage of our life where we're looking for our own homestead and our own farm.
Yeah, I remember you mentioning that in the last interview, that it was really important for you that you build a homestead. Now, what prompted you to take that step into bringing the Airstream around the country, working from, on the road, having a great team that you can count on, but deciding not to be stuck in one place? What brought that about?
Yeah, so a lot of it was just meeting as many people, having media mixers, and meeting with brands on the road. The second thing was when my husband got out of the Navy, we really just wanted to experience our country and the amazing things that it has to offer. And we wanted to figure out where we wanted to live. So we traveled the country. We were really intentional and really asked ourselves, could we see ourselves here? Could we see ourselves raising kids here? And that was really, the decision behind it.
And for anyone who might be thinking doing what you're doing and maybe do the Airstream around the country, what was some of the biggest challenges, not being in one place?
Yeah, I mean, when you're on the road, you definitely lose connectivity with your friends and family. It's different. It's just phone calls. So you do miss out on that. You have a small kitchen, so the whole concept of meal prep is really hard. You have to buy groceries for not as many days. And then, of course, you're dependent upon the service or Wi-Fi that happens to be in that city. So that is another challenge too.
Interesting. Now, I'm guessing for businesses having to worry about having a good Wi-Fi connection, how will that be when you settle down in the mountains? Do you think that will be an issue, or do you just find different ways to communicate?
Yeah, so we're in between Charlotte and Asheville, so it's not like, I mean, the mountains are here, but the internet is really great. There's always boosters that you can get to increase your cell service and Wi-Fi too.
Well, that's good. That's a good thing to know for anyone who's thinking, "Oh my gosh, if I did that, I'd be, really in big trouble." Now, what do you see going forward for Publicity for Good? What is your grand vision for your company and your personal life besides?
Yeah. So it's definitely building it to be the #1 purpose-driven PR firm, and then beyond that, really looking at what's next, what systems need to be in place, who's the right people on the team. When you build your business and you give your heart and soul to something for 5 years and you're working so many hours, and then you start thinking about your future family, it's putting the right people in place so that you can not work 80 to 100-hour weeks, work less, to just step into being a mom or those other things that are important to you.
And that's a great thing to realize, that you don't want to just be thinking I'm working around the clock and not seeing the fruits of your labor. The whole reason you started a business was to not only help people, but not be so stuck in it. That's one of the things I hear about entrepreneurs is they're working 16 hours and they're really not growing. They're just sitting here working a million hours, but kind of working for their business instead of with their business or, at it.
Totally.
Yeah. So I bet as a kid, you didn't think you'd be doing this, traveling the whole country, running a business.
Probably not.
Well, you know what? What is your big advice, though? Because one thing about this podcast, Unleashing Your Story, everyone has a story that can inspire others to grow and build their own story. What would be your advice to someone who says, I'm just doing the humdrum, I don't really feel I have anything to contribute? Where should they start?
Yeah, so I have this formula that I call the rich formula. And essentially what you need to do first is reflect on who you are and what are the key moments in your life, what struggles did you go through, what are you passionate about, and really start building your story around that. Like, I lost my dad to cancer. There's so many key things that made me be an entrepreneur. He was an entrepreneur. He passed away. That being an entrepreneur is my way to honor him. So you really need to reflect and kind of even look back to your trauma and reflect on everything to then start creating your story and also figuring out what you want to do and how you want to help people. And then if you already have a business, using that as a part of your story to really impact people.
That's interesting you say that, because I think businesses don't realize how important it is to have your story down. Because a lot of people say, well, why do you do that? I want to help people. Well, that's great, but why do you want to help people? What is your why? Why do you get up in the morning and do this? And your story about your dad having dealt with a terminal illness, well, that's your story, your push to go forward. And I think it's important for everyone to say, what is your push? What is your why?
Yeah. If you don't have that, it's probably hard to push through. Like, you need to have that burning desire in your belly to help you get through all the ups and downs and everything.
Absolutely. Yeah. Well, I can't wait to see what you come up with when you get to the other side and build your home. I hope you come back and share that with everyone. I can't wait to see what you come up with, because I know it's going to be even more amazing. Do you have any other companies in mind, or any other way to roll out Publicity for Good in the future?
Yeah. So for Publicity for Good, we manage PR and social media right now. So that's really exciting. And then, in the future, probably investing in other companies, buying other PR companies, and just, building our homestead.
That's awesome. Congratulations.
Thank you.
I'm so happy for what you're doing in the world, Heather, and I'm so grateful you were able to come back and join in our new series here, Unleashing Your Story. Thank you so much for coming today to
Thank you.
Your podcast. All right. Let everyone know before we leave where they can find out more about you and work with you.
Yeah. So you can find me at Heather DeSantis. It's HeatherDesantis. If you send me a DM and you tell me that you were on the show, I'll give you my pitch templates to support you. Or you can go to publicityforgood.com as well.
Awesome. I decided to put that right there at the bottom in case anyone didn't have a pen handy. They can watch this later and take it down. Thank you so much, Heather, for coming.
Thank you.
Unleashing your story. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Like, subscribe, and share this episode. To listen to more savvy episodes and savvy biz tips, go to www.lifeunscriptedradio.com. To find out about our paid sponsorship opportunities or how to become a guest, email Christina at lifeunscriptedradio.com.